Morning, lads. So I'm going to do a couple of quick videos. This first one is focusing on the defenders, the back five in particular. So your goalkeeper and your centre backs and your full backs. So what I want to focus on here is the importance of staying compact and staying tight throughout the game. Whether it's down the middle or whether it comes down the channels, making sure that we're in the right position. Almost like we've got an invisible rope tied from one defender's waist onto the next one, onto the next one, onto the next one. You guys don't move too far away when we're out of possession of the ball. So let's just talk about your positions first, normally. So let's move these strikers out of the way. Your starting position obviously looks more like that. Okay. Now, when the game starts, if we're out of possession of the ball, so say the striker has received the ball, one player will always look to close, while the others will come in and stay compact and stay tight. So we always want to make sure that we're fanning in, fanning out. Okay? If you're not sure what that means, let me show you. So fanning in, fanning out. Fanning out is when we've got possession of the ball. So ball's been played up to Luke Wynn or Craig Campion or whoever this is. So it's into our midfield. Our fullbacks are going to push out wide, go to the chalk. Our centre-backs are going to come up and support that midfield line. Okay? So we fan out. When we're out of possession of the ball, then we fan in. But we fan in gradually, so we fan in depending on the risk. So, for example, if the ball's up here, so it's in their 18-yard line, then we don't really need to fan in at all at that point. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to keep space. So when the ball's played, if we can win possession of the ball back, then we're back in. If that ball gets played into their midfield, then that's where we start to drop off, depending on the situation. So if that player is under no pressure, so let's say the ball gets played into this man here, he's under no pressure, he's got nobody on him, he's able to turn and face our goal, then this is where we'll drop. So the centre-backs will go directly backwards. Obviously the striker will follow. But the fullbacks will come in. So the fullbacks will come right tight. So you've almost got four centre-backs when you are dropping back. Now, obviously, bear in mind, we want to attack the ball. So we don't want to be dropping off too deep, but there will always be a requirement to drop. And this is where you've got to look for the triggers. If the opposition player is under no pressure, is able to hit that ball over the top of you, then obviously that's where we need to drop. That's a trigger, right? If you've got a player running at you, again, under no pressure. So let's say you're up here. Okay, so you're further up the field. We've just lost possession over here. This player's picked it up. He's now run. He's not tracking back. He's now running aggressively toward the defence. There's no need to approach him there. Okay? We don't need to do that, because if he gets round you, then suddenly there's this big space opened up here. Okay? So all we do is all four defenders will drop back, but fan in. So the closer he comes to goal, the tighter we get. And then he's got no way through. Okay? We then win possession of the ball back, and then we fan out very quickly to ensure that we've got the space to play. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, then drop me a message in the chat and I will try to explain. So, again, closing the striker, so look for your triggers. So if the striker receives the ball, but his back is to our goal, get close to him. Put some pressure on him. Again, one defender will approach. The others will tighten up around him. So, again, we're compact. Yeah? We stay tight at all given times. That includes the fullbacks. I don't want the fullbacks still out here when the ball's played down the middle here. I want those fullbacks in. Okay? So we stay tight. We make it very difficult for them. If the striker happens to play the ball out wide into a player here, that's fine. Fullback can approach. Obviously staying goal side. The centre-back will drop in there. The other centre-back will come across. The fullback will act as another centre-back there in the middle of the pitch. Again, look how tight it is. Look how tight we are between the four defenders. Yeah. And it's the same again. If that then gets played back across there, one centre-back will approach. Okay? Again, you don't need to go right up to him. If he's facing goal now, okay, make sure you're blocking the angle for a pass. But as he approaches, this fullback will drop in. It's okay if he follows on. The fullback will drop back in there. You come across. Again, back into your position, but you stay tight and you stay compact. Obviously, keeper will be on his line there. Okay. Hopefully that all makes sense. So, talking about triggers, I did mention, obviously, you're going to have to drop. So, again, we've just attacked. Okay. So, here we are. We're attacking. We've lost the ball. Centre-back's got it here. Now, if that centre-back wants to smack it and just hoof the ball forward, let him. But we don't need to drop our line there. Okay, if we lose possession of the ball, then yes, maybe the fullbacks could just come in a slight tad, just make it a little bit tighter. But if that ball comes over the top, I would expect us to win that ball as high up as we possibly can, to try and re-attack, to try and pen in the opposition. Yeah. Where we want to be careful, where we want to look at the trigger, is when that ball gets played from this defence into this midfield. Okay, so this is our midfield here. Okay. And one striker up top there. Okay. So, if that gets played in to there, he can now turn. He's got no pressure, right? While his back's to our goal, we don't need to drop. When he turns, he's now facing our goal. That's when we need to think about dropping. So you've got one player here who can press. So we give the shout to that player to tell him to press the ball. Okay? So he's coming in there. We still need to drop because while he's coming across to press, one, he might not be successful. Two, it's obviously going to take him a couple of seconds to get across. That's enough time for him to hit a ball over the top. Okay? Onto a striker. Well, waiting, willing striker. But all we're going to do is drop with the striker. So if the striker's going to make a little run, we just drop a yard behind, so a yard closer to our goal. So we'll drop. The fullbacks will drop in like that as well. He'll press. When that ball comes across, the striker's got nowhere to go with it. What that allows is it allows these midfielders to get back into position. If he's the one that's made the pass, he can come back into position there as well. By staying tight, you slow down the play, and by dropping at the right time, you obviously it's better for you guys when you're defending. It makes more sense because you can attack the ball high when you need to. You can put pressure on and allow us to control the tempo of the game. But at the same time, if there is a risk to that ball being put over the top of you or played through you, or you're allowing the attackers to get too close to our back line with too much space in behind. And what I mean by that is this. So we did it in training on Tuesday, or I mentioned it in training on Tuesday. If the ball is played into the striker, striker's close to our defenders there. Look how much space we've got in behind. We'll assume the keeper hasn't come up. If the number 10 comes forward as well, ball gets played into the number 10. He's too close to the defenders now for us not to drop. So if that striker makes a run, okay, a good run, good angled run, and he plays that ball through, he's too close for us, realistically, to be able to always block that pass. If he's here, then we've got time to be able to read the pass. So we can block it, we can get in the way, we can interfere. If he's close to us here, then it's much more difficult for us to be able to block that pass. So what we want to do is when they're that close to our defensive line, is we drop. We drop into that position there. And then if they get close to us again there, they've got less space to play in behind. Yeah, so if he puts that ball through, it's got to be a lot more accurate a pass than what it has to be here. Up here, he can just play the ball with a little bit of weight, make sure that it goes somewhere into this big area here, and the striker does the rest of the work. Okay? We're nearly at 10 minutes in this video already, so I apologise for it being long. We're going over quite a lot of topics, so I'm not breaking it down into like single issues. I'm trying to do everything all at once where it relates to you guys as defenders. One thing I do want to say is, as defenders, you're not successful just because you've made a tackle. Sometimes you can be successful without putting without even touching the ball. if you stay tight and compact here, and the opposition are forced, they've got all these players forward. You know, say we've got our midfielders there. They've got all these players forward. Okay, if we by being defensively compact, if we force the opposition constantly to have to pass sideways or pass backwards, then that's a success. You've been successful as a defender because you're making it extremely difficult for them to play. You're making it extremely difficult for them to break you down. Yeah. But what we want to do is, through the defence, is be able to control the tempo of the game. So we, like I say, we drop when we have to drop. We stay compact. We stay tight. But as soon as we can push on, as soon as we can push back and get these guys away from our goal, then that's what we need to do. We need to push them away from our goal as often as possible and try and hold this line here. So try and hold this line. If we've got possession of the ball, the fullbacks can then go forward. Okay, if they're both going to go forward, that's fine. Just make sure you've got one anchor man, one midfielder who sits in that place there. Okay, because then if he has to, he can then drop into that defence. Okay, which means that the fullbacks are free to get up and give us the width that we need, which allows our wide players to come inside. Okay, and sit a bit deeper and act as free strikers rather than wide wingers. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense. That's it really. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was positioning when off the ball, when on the ball. This is the last bit, I promise, guys, and then I'm done on the defence. Okay. So when I say attack the ball, obviously you know what I mean. I want you to go toward the ball. I want us to try and win the ball back early where we can. So our striker here has had the ball played into him from a centre back. They've won possession of the ball, so the centre back's going to play into the striker there. Okay, his back is to our goal, so straight away one defender should be looking to come forward, come close to the striker, try and win that ball back, put him under pressure, get possession of the ball back into our feet. Obviously, while he does that, if he's on his own, then there's really not that much you need to do. Obviously, the rest of the defenders just need to be on their toes and prepared. For if that striker's maybe quick enough to turn his man and start attacking the line, at which case that's when we drop and we stay compact and tight. Yeah. If he doesn't, that's fine. At this point, we're safe, right? It's 4-on-1. If we've got other players up here though, okay, and that centre back's played that ball into him there, you're going to try and attack the ball. What I want for the other centre back not to go too far, but just drop a yard. Or half a yard, just drop him behind slightly, okay? That way, if he wins the ball and he passes it out wide there, then we've got that time and space for the rest of the defenders to then drop in, okay? We're not going to get caught out with, one or two quick passes over the top into that space there. Obviously, the keeper will be further up as well, okay? But what I want to see is one defender go forward. And when they go forward, I want to see the other centre-back just drop half a yard. Just drop half a yard behind the line to ensure that we're covered. That we're sweeping up anything that might come through. Okay? So that's off the ball. On the ball, and we are getting better at this actually. So, but I will just go through it while we're going through the through this kind of video. So on the ball, so it's played into our fullback here, okay? At the moment, what we do is this. Fullback wins the ball, so he's going to be put under a little bit of pressure. Let's say we've got a couple more players here, okay? Fullback's going to play across to the centre-back. Centre-back, at the moment, and we have got a habit of doing this, will stand static and wait for the ball there, okay? Well, I don't want us to do that because we have got people here that are going to put us under pressure. So what I'd rather see is that the centre-back drops, again, half a yard to a yard, just drops, but make sure that he's facing their goal, okay? Again, looking at triggers, we don't want to trigger them to put pressure on us in our own third. So the ball goes back to the centre-back, okay? So he drops deep, receives the ball in space, facing the right direction. This centre-back will then do the same thing. So he will then drop, okay, and come across. So the ball then comes across there. Yes, it looks like we're going back toward our own goal, but what it actually does is it draws the opposition onto us, okay? So then, again, gets played out into the centre-back. This full-back now, rather than dropping back, because the fullbacks are going to be more attacking, will go out to the chalk. Okay, so the ball goes out to the fullback. Fullback receives the ball, plays it into the attack mid. But at that point, as soon as he plays that pass into there, into that attack mid, 4 of their players are out of the game because of the way that you've just positioned yourself and because you've dropped a little bit deeper to receive the ball. Strikers are forced to follow you into those deep positions. Otherwise, you've got all the time in the world to be able to play football. So drop deep when you're trying to receive the ball, okay? Again, just to run through it one last time. So fullback receives it. Okay, fullback receives the ball there. Gets put under pressure. He's going to play into the centre-back. Centre-back's going to drop, receive the ball. Striker's going to be forced to go after the centre-back there. This centre-back is going to drop, receive the ball. Okay. Again, put under pressure. Following fullback, so when we switch to play, it's going to go out to the chalk, receive the ball. Okay, if he gets put under pressure, ball goes forward. You've took out 4 of their players. Okay, which gives us a much greater advantage when we're attacking. That's it. That's everything on the defence side of things that I wanted to talk about. Hopefully that makes sense. If there's any scenarios or anything you want me to talk about or run through, you know, please say so. Or if there's any questions you've got on the back of this, again, please say so. And I will try to make individual scenario videos a bit shorter, so less than 2 minutes. That's it. All right then, guys. Hopefully that is useful for you. Okay, mate.